Hello, and welcome back to A Real Horror Show. So last weekend I attended the biggest horror convention in Europe, the For the Love of Horror convention in Manchester, and there I met some absolutely incredible special guests who are the cast and crew of some of horror's most beloved movies. I also managed to get a whole bunch of autographs on some of my most prized and most special pieces of memorabilia in my collection, and I also picked up some really awesome collectibles on the way too. So in today's video I'm going to do a sort of collection showcase or HorrorCon haul video of all the stuff that I got from For the Love of Horror, and also share some stories from the convention. And with the addition of some of the autographs that I managed to acquire, I now have some serious holy grail items and pieces of horror memorabilia. If you're new to this channel or you enjoy the content I put out there for you guys, don't forget to slash that subscribe button and leave a like and a comment down below in this video, as it helps me out a lot. Also hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on a single upload. Apparently only 10% of you guys watching this are subscribed, and I'm super appreciative that you guys are here, but it would be awesome if you all joined us. So For the Love of Horror is a convention that's been running annually since 2018, up in my neck of the woods in the north of England, and it's Europe's biggest gathering of horror fanatics, and it's only grown year by year. I've attended the convention every year since 2018, and over the years they've continued to bring some of the most insane celebrity guests, from Brad Dourif to Tobin Bell, Tim Curry, David Howard Thornton, and the casts of films such as Halloween and Scream, and the list really does go on and on. And this year was no exception, with guests including Bill Moseley, Lin Shaye, Tom Atkins, 𝙎𝙬𝙎𝙎𝙎, and multiple cast members from films such as the original Evil Dead and John Carpenter's The Thing and Halloween. It's really cool to meet up with horror fans from all across the country and beyond, including a lot of friends who I only really see because of events such as this. And for me personally, this is the best part of horror conventions in general, getting to meet up with faces new and old who are all there due to the love of horror. And I was actually genuinely taken aback at how many people came up to me during the weekend and told me that they were subscribers of the channel or they enjoyed the content I put out there. That really meant a lot to me, and I send my love to all of you. Two new faces in particular I met over the weekend were those of Nathan and Eleanor of Nightmare Machines, who construct by hand these absolutely insane set pieces and put them on display at conventions for fans to enjoy and take photos with. This year they did a display celebrating John Carpenter's The Thing, and it was mind-blowing. They recreated the dog thing and kennels, as well as the interiors of Outpost 31, including the blood test sequence room with Palmer's body, and the most iconic scene from the film by far, that is still the gold standard of practical effects for me personally, done by the great Rob Bottin. They had the operation table and this huge life-size replica of the Norris monster coming out of the chest, which was incredible. They also built a replica of the Chess Wizard computer, which I later recorded being signed by the voice of the chess game herself, 𝙎𝙬𝙎𝙎𝙎, which was really cool to watch. And we can't forget the Norris head, which Nathan and Eleanor were kind enough to let me borrow for a photo with David Clennon, who played Palmer in the movie. This was an awesome experience, and David is a really generous man who was a pleasure to speak to, and I couldn't not take this opportunity of getting this photo. And no, he didn't say "you gotta be fucking kidding me" as I approached him with the Norris head. As cool as that would have been, he definitely comes across as a very polite gentleman, but that's something I'll definitely never forget. So thank you once again, Nathan and Eleanor, for letting me borrow your amazing Norris spider head. It absolutely made that picture, and thank you for all the hard work you put into building those sets for all the fans to enjoy. Another fantastic experience at the convention was meeting actor James Duval, who portrayed Frank the Bunny in the movie Donnie Darko. I met him on the Sunday with my girlfriend Pammy, who is a massive fan of that movie. It's one of her all-time favourites, and she really wanted to meet James and get his autograph and a photo. The photo came out beautifully, as did the autograph too, that we found this really lovely antique frame for the day after the convention. I regret not getting a photo with James, but I have to say, he's one of the nicest human beings I think I've ever met. Definitely up there with the likes of Robert Englund. He took so much time with me and Pame discussing different aspects of the movie and telling us his own take on what that film is all about. I couldn't possibly delve into everything that we talked about, but it ended in hugs, and it definitely made my girlfriend's day. In fact, I think it probably made her life. And I'm really thankful for that because she's still really happy about it. But it was an absolute pleasure to meet James, and I really hope that we cross paths again. I love that, man. I want to mention that there's also always great cosplayers attending these conventions too, including these guys doing a Thing group cosplay, which was awesome. The MacReady was absolutely spot on and screen accurate from head to toe. I was so impressed with this costume, it was insane. And there was also this Pretty Woman Leatherface that looked amazing. And the guy behind the mask, Ryan, perfected the iconic chainsaw dance from the finale of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's also a large trader hall at the convention that houses many vendors from shops that sell horror figures, collectibles and props to independent horror artists, including the likes of Tom at the Evil Shed, who is the extremely kind and talented man that made this absolutely insane life-size wall hanger of Jack Nicholson in The Shining. And this guy hangs very proudly over the doorway to the collection room. He had some stunning pieces on display at his stall. In particular, this life-size Linda head stuck in the vice from Evil Dead 2, which was incredibly detailed. And if you guys know me, you know I'm obsessed with Evil Dead 2, and I definitely want to add this to my collection. He also had this life-size Pennywise bust based on Tim Curry's appearance in the 1990 film on display, and this bust absolutely blew me away. He managed to capture the likeness of Tim Curry so perfectly in that piece. It's just outstanding and one that's definitely going on my wish list. Also, check out this bust of David from The Lost Boys that depicts the bridge scene on the back. This attention to detail is just so cool. I'll be including all links to all the artists I mention in this video down in the description, by the way, so please go check out their stuff and support them. I swear these guys are making the greatest collectibles on the market right now, and all you collectors and horror fans need to check out what they have on offer. Also, it's important to support small businesses, and these guys have a true passion for the genre. I also came across Cult Creations, who produce handcrafted dioramas for horror figures in different scales, and these dioramas are the perfect way to elevate your figure displays within your collection. I especially like this diorama of the Myers house porch with the Trick or Treat Studios Michael figure stood in front, and all of the cool 1/6 scale display pieces like the cafe from Terrifier, a barn display for Friday the 13th Part 3, and the 3 doors from the 2017 version of It. Also at the convention was Darren of Suckface Studios, and if you guys haven't checked out Daz's work, then you seriously need to do so, because his life-size replicas are some of the best display pieces on the market, especially these busts of the man of our dreams, Freddy Krueger. These Part 2 and Part 3 pieces are, in complete honesty, 2 of the greatest horror collectibles I've ever laid my eyes on. It's like Robert Englund himself is in the room. They are so meticulously detailed and lifelike, and Daz has also captured the character so well in the facial expressions, and that only adds to their realism. So with all that said, there is no way I was not going to add one of these guys to the collection. That's a bit of a spoiler, but yeah, you can all expect a video coming very soon. It's also worth mentioning that Daz makes the greatest Gizmo replicas ever, and if you're a big Gremlins fan like myself, you need to have one of these little guys on your wish list. So this brings me to the first pickups of the convention, and they are from Daz, and you Freddy fans are gonna love these. First up, we have this very healthy looking set of dentures, which are clearly cast from the mouth of your average British man. In reality, these are actually casts of the original prosthetic teeth that Robert Englund wore in A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 and 4. And if that wasn't cool enough, the fake teeth are mounted on real dental castings of Robert Englund's teeth. And to me, this is just mind-blowing stuff and really cool. But not only did I come away with this pair of Freddy's not so pearly whites, I also got my hands on this mini bust wall hanger. And this is a scan of a cast of the original Part 3 makeup head sculpt that was made by special effects legend Kevin Yeager. The casting of this sculpt in particular was made specifically for Freddy's rebirth scene in A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master, where his body melts in reverse to become reborn. The head sculpt that this was cast from is also used in the infamous primetime TV scene in Nightmare Part 3, when Freddy's head comes out the top of the TV. These are both extremely cool items to own in the collection, and I love the fact that they've both got so much production history behind them and a story to tell, and I'm extremely thankful to Daz of Suckface Studios for giving these to me. Once again, go and check out that man's work, because it's some of the best I've ever seen. And when it comes to Freddy Krueger, Daz knows everything about the production on those movies, and his expertise really show off in his work. Go and support all of these artists, get in contact with them, and inquire about the incredible horror collectibles they have on offer for all of us horror fans. And quickly before I talk about all the stuff that I got signed from the guests at the convention, I want to show off my final merchandise pickup of the convention. And it's this lovely tapestry blanket of one of the most iconic patterns and bits of imagery, not just in horror films but in cinematic history. Of course, it's the carpet design from Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. I really felt like I needed more horror related homeware, and I've been eyeing up this blanket for quite a long time now. And this is made by the company Dead Cat Club, and they produce all kinds of horror related clothing, accessories and homeware, so make sure you go check them out too. Now, onto things that I got signed at the convention. And first things first, I managed to get a couple of rare NECA figures signed. And I guess we'll start with the Scream Factory exclusive Stevie Wayne figure from one of my favourite John Carpenter movies, The Fog. I've never had the privilege of meeting the great 𝙆𝙊𝙎𝙁𝙁 before, so it was an absolute honour to do so, and she was absolutely lovely. It's funny because we actually spent more time talking about Grease than anything else, because for those who don't know, Adrian is the original Rizzo and was the first actress to portray the character on stage. And despite my love for Stockard Channing, I think it's criminal that Adrian did not play the part in the film. But anyway, she signed this figure with the quote, "Look for the fog," and I love that this is in white because it really stands out amongst the figure's packaging and is reminiscent of the fog itself. And the second NECA figure I got signed is a really special one because it's actually one of the rarest in my entire collection, and it's this figure of Dr. Dan Chalice from Halloween 3. I did a whole video on this guy a little while back, so if you didn't see that video, please go and check that one out. This figure was initially only available at the Halloween 45 convention in Pasadena, California, and it came out in a very limited numbered edition of only 1,000 copies. Owning this figure in the collection is enough, but I was really hoping I'd be able to get it signed by the great Tom Atkins, and thankfully Tom returned to the convention this year and I took the opportunity. Tom is an absolute legend. It was such an honour to meet that man again, and I just love how he signed this figure in the bright orange paint pen with the quote "Stop it" from the film's famous ambiguous ending. This figure was a holy grail for me before, and now even more so. Another person I had the privilege of meeting last week was the lovely Lin Shaye, who a lot of people know for portraying the character of Elise in the Insidious movies, and she was by far the most popular guest at the convention. But if you didn't know, Lin is the sister of New Line Cinema founder Bob Shaye, who produced the original A Nightmare on Elm Street, in which Lin played Nancy's teacher. So naturally, I had to add her to this awesome cast-signed ghoulish Gary print that I've not yet framed up. I expected she would just sign her name, but as you can see, she signed a whole quote and added teacher underneath. I told Lynn that I was extremely thankful for this and for going above and beyond for me, and she said thank you back for taking the time to wait and see her, which is really sweet. And that brings me to the final piece of my collection that I got signed at For the Love of Horror 2024. And this is now by far one of the ultimate grail pieces in my entire collection, and I'm extremely proud to own this. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of the original cast from John Carpenter's 1978 masterpiece Halloween attended the convention this year, which gave me the opportunity to add more signatures to this bottleneck gallery foil print variant of that extremely iconic poster art. I already had Sandy Johnson, who played Judith Myers, the late great Charles Cyphers, who played Sheriff Brackett, Nancy Loomis, who played Annie, the Shape himself, the OG Michael Myers, Nick Castle, and the man behind this legendary artwork, Bob Gleason, on this print. But at the convention, I was able to obtain the signatures of Will Sandin, who played Michael at age 6 in the movie's opening scene, John Michael Graham, who portrayed Bob, who insisted on writing his autograph on the tip of the knife, which I really appreciated, and I thought it was a really cool idea, as his death is by far the most iconic in the film. I also got to add the lovely PJ Souls, who is such a kind person. I've met PJ before in the past, and it was a real privilege to see her again. And of course, there's only one quote in my mind that I wanted her to write.
Totally.
And finally, I got to meet Tommy Lee Wallace, who is not only the director of Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, but also the man who portrayed Michael Myers in the infamous closet sequence, and is also directly responsible with creating the iconic mask of the Shape. When one fateful day he purchased a Captain Kirk mask from a store on Hollywood Boulevard and modified it into what we now know as the face of Michael Myers. I love how Tommy does his autograph, but I've got to say, he is obsessed with blue paint pens. I don't know if his favourite colour is blue or what, but every autograph that I saw him sign at the convention was in this blue pen. It's pretty much a meme at this point, but with that said, I love how it turned out, and the poster just looks absolutely incredible. I genuinely can't believe how many names I have scribbled on this piece now, and how privileged I am to have met all these great people involved with one of the most important horror movies in history. But one thing's for sure, I'm extremely proud to hang this on the wall. So overall, besides Saturday being an extremely stressful day, consisting of pretty much queuing up all day long from start to finish and getting a bit pissed off in between, which I guess you have to kind of expect from conventions these days, Sunday definitely made up for it, as I got to spend the day with my girlfriend at the convention and all my friends, old and new. Once again, I'm very thankful to everybody that weekend that came up to me to say hello, and it really meant a lot to me when they said that they were subscribed to the channel and that they enjoyed watching all the videos. I'm ridiculously appreciative of that. In the end, I came away from Fall of Horror 2024 with some great memories and great experiences. I made a lot of new friends, and to top it off, I came away with some pretty cool shit. Thank you to everybody who watches this channel, I appreciate you all. I hope you're all having the greatest spooky season, and until next time guys, take care.